In this month's episode, I escape a rampaging giant mechanical elephant.
I actually complete some games with Ace Combat 7 and Split Fiction.
We both explore the world of Planet of Lana for our love it or leave it choice.
It's been a great month, full of great games. Giles did lots of things. I did nothing at all apart from play games. So here how we got on in the month of March in this month's Ace and Games.
Hi folks, and welcome to April's Aches and Games, a relaxed monthly check-in between two slightly older British friends, and over the next hour and a bit, we'll be talking life, gaming, and whatever else comes to mind. We'd love to have you with us all the time, or you can use the timestamps to jump around in the episode to a specific section. But it's not just about us, so let us know your thoughts, comments, and recommendations. You can do that via our socials, our Facebook page, or by emailing achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nixon, at Giles Went West on most things. Joining me, as always, is my good friend James Hopes. Hey James, how's it going?
Good evening, Giles. Very well, thank you. I'm James Boy 1978 on PlayStation Network. James Boy 78 9534 on Xbox, etc. When Giles said he'd like you with us all the time, he didn't mean all the time, just during the episode, not in real life. I don't want to be near anyone all the time in real life, but there we go. Everyone's got their limitations. But yeah, hope you join us for the show. Like I said, skip to the parts you're interested in. Giles has done lots of things this month. And I've played lots of things, so between the two of us, hopefully, we'll make a decent show out of it. Around the hour mark. Between an hour and a half, potentially. So all good. Welcome, Giles. How are you?
Thank you. Yes, so that makes me aches and you games for this particular time.
Perfect.
I guess that's how it works. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. As you said, I've had a busy month, so that's been nice. Mostly nice actually. Busy at work, which isn't nice. And so unfortunately, between that and doing fun things, as you said, I've not had a chance to play very much, but have played this month's Love It or Leave It. So that will be coming later. A couple of other bits and pieces. But yeah, we had a few days off this month, which, as everyone knows who does an office job, you get punished for having holiday by having to do the same amount of work just in less time. And it's also a big project time for me at the moment, which is unfortunate. But we had a couple of lovely days off where we just went for lunch, really. One of them was my birthday, which was very exciting. I went to a local restaurant called Chalk here in Wokingham. Partly scouting for potential wedding venues, if I'm honest. So that was part of the plan, and also went to the Woodsbean in Newbury, which I'd highly recommend, particularly for the cheapo lunchtime fixed menu. I don't think I could afford it in the evening. Sorry, Craig, if you're listening. He has a connection, but it was fantastic. Like fixed 3-course meal. Chalk was also really good. We've just lived a great life, really, and had lovely weather for both days, which is mad. We also, after my birthday, went to Nantes in France. Nantes, I think you say it.
Well, it's hard to pronounce that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you have to avoid Nantes, don't you? That's the biggest. Yeah. That's the biggest challenge. And once you've done that, I think you're sort of home and dry, regardless of how you say it.
Always avoid Nantes, definitely.
That's good top tip for anyone listening. Although quite hard to identify in some cases, apart from looking back years later, you think, why didn't I spot that? Yeah. We should have spotted that. We digress, as always. So yes, we went to Nantes, went to visit one of Hannah's previous workmates. She worked with years and years ago and has had 3 attempts, including this one, to get out and see her. First one was cancelled due to COVID. The second time was cancelled due to EasyJet cancelling all the flights. Some quite major thing that day. I think they cancelled lots of things. And this time we actually made it, which was very nice. And as a bonus, they got me tea. So spent 3 and a bit days there, exploring the city, definitely. Which I'd highly recommend. Following on, I believe, from your mechanical contraptions in northern France quite recently, James, I think you mentioned.
Some dragons.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Maddie for pointing that out. Because I'd clearly forgotten that from the previous podcast, but listeners, you'll remember, even if I don't, old age and whatnot. So we saw a giant elephant, and what's amazing about this giant elephant is, number one, it's a giant elephant, and it wanders around, so it's not just sort of based in one place. It rolls around, but its legs make it look like it's walking. It's, I would estimate, probably 30 meters high. In WWE terms, that's about 100 meters to any wrestling fans listening. And it also sprays out water from its trunk, so the local kids and teenagers seem to enjoy a sort of fairly futile game of standing in front of it, not wanting to be sprayed with water, and then they wanting to be sprayed with water. Then it sprays them, and then they run away scared like idiots. So that was quite fun. Very spectacular. It's a lovely place as well, historical city. And then we got taken out to the seaside as well. Went to a sort of secret locals beach in the sun and had a picnic, a French picnic, which obviously involved a bottle of wine and lots of bread and cheese and meats and stuff. It was fantastic. So, yeah, an idyllic month, really, for me, James. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I like the idea of bread and cheese. Never enjoyed the wine part particularly. French people love a bit of wine, but I'm not a big fan of wine. Never have been for some reason.
I heard red wine. Red wine agrees with you, doesn't it?
Yes, and sangria. Big fan of sangria.
There's a story there, listeners. One day we might share it with you.
I'll share it now. It's weird. I've only ever had sangria twice. The red one. It's just red wine mixed with orange juice, isn't it, really?
I think so, yes.
Kind of, with maybe a few other little bits in it. But one time I had it at a friend's house, I think Soraya's house, years ago, at a house party.
Yep.
Had literally half a glass of it and then off my face. Bizarre. Couldn't even make it back unaided to the train station to go home. Bizarre. But the only other time I drank it was on in Barcelona, on Alex's stag do, was it?
Alex's stag, yeah.
And again, perfectly normal. I had a little bit of sangria and forgot the rest of the evening pretty much. Lost my shoes, jumped over a barrier on the tube, ordered curry at a fish restaurant, all kinds of crazy stuff. So don't get me the sangria. Although I can do white sangria, just not red sangria. So it must be the redness or the tannins or something. Anyway, but back to what I was saying. When you mentioned a large elephant, me and Joshua were going through our we have some coffee table books of photos, so you can make little albums through different companies. So we used to do photo albums, and me and Sarah did one for our honeymoon back in 2009, obviously, Dubai, Sri Lanka and Maldives. Little stay in Dublin at first, all very nice. And one of the photos is at the elephant sanctuary. And there's an elephant with a penis the size of literally a leg. And Joshua saw it and just couldn't believe how large an elephant's penis is. So when you mentioned a 30-foot elephant, I thought, blimey, must have a 30-foot penis. That's where my mind disappears to, fascinatingly. Also, a little bit further back, do you know what the word nonce actually stands for?
I do not, but we're definitely skirting the family-friendly definition, aren't we? Yeah, go for it. Why not?
It means not on normal courtyard exercise.
Ah.
I used to write nonce on the board at one of the prisons, I can't remember which one it was, so if you weren't allowed in with the rest of the inmates for your exercise because you might get beaten up, then you had nonce written on your board, and therefore it became into a popular parlance. Fascinating. There we go. So it's educational, this podcast, not just entertaining. Sometimes neither. Anyway, what have I done this month? Well, I also went to Newbury, as you went to Newbury. So me and Sarah went there for a day out. Fascinatingly, you know Newbury, it's got that nice new part down one end. And then it's got the older part down the other end.
Yeah.
And the older part's kind of died a bit. So down one end now, where the cinema is, where the View Cinema is, it's all dead. So they've closed it all down, that shopping centre. There's literally got to build flats there, I think. And it's just weird. There's now a View Cinema in the middle of this deserted shopping centre. It looks like it's closed down completely, but it's not. View Cinema's still fine, but it's not signposted at all. You're walking through a door and there's an escalator and it takes you up to View Cinema. Bizarre. And also a token Nando's. I felt sorry for Nando's. Nando's obviously used to be in a big shopping centre there, and now it's just completely empty. So me and Sarah went in for our Nando's lunch. There's no one in there at all. Barely even staff. We had to go and cook the chicken out the back ourselves. Really odd experience. But there we go. That was our Newbury trip. We had a walk along the river. Had a pleasant time. That's almost all we've done this month, pathetically. Loads of DIY, loads of house stuff. Been trying to sort out the study, been trying to sort out the garden, laid a load of turfs, dug some holes, moved some furniture around. Usual stuff that I do every day of my life, but nothing exciting at all this month, unfortunately. So, like I said, we're relying on you to spread the excitement of the month of March rather than me, because ours was a bit naff.
Excellent. Well, the only thing I can add really is we went to see Sue Perkins at the Hexagon with Emily, one of Hannah's friends, which was really good. I don't know what I expected from Sue Perkins. Probably known her mostly from Bake Off and Mel and Sue's Light Lunch and things like that. Didn't know she did stand up. Turns out she doesn't. This was, I think, the second stand up show she'd done in years and years. So it was kind of like a mixture between stand up and one of those like audience with type things, and she was very open about kind of sort of mental health stuff, but in a very funny way. She talked about her travel. She's done a lot of travel shows, which Hannah and I have recently discovered. So we watched her follow the route of the Orient Express, but not on the Orient Express. So, and she did some kind of slightly fun things involving absinthe and weird like ladies and parties and all kinds of obscure things along the way. So that was fun. And yeah, I'd really, again, just enjoying getting out, seeing some comedy. We've had a pretty good run over the last few years, but we're starting to get to some more obscure choices. So Sue Perkins, if she's near you, highly recommend. She was good fun.
I don't think she is near me. I'd look around the room. I can't see her. On the subject of amusing females, obviously, have you seen Claudia Winkleman's new chat show?
I am aware of it. I haven't seen it. I heard the first episode was not so great, but it's got better. Is that fair?
Well, I've been quite enjoyed it all.
Okay.
I think we've watched 3 episodes so far. Obviously, it replaced the slot where Graham Norton used to be, and obviously Claudia replaced Graham Norton for one show last year. So I think people assumed it'd be like the Graham Norton show, but it's not like the Graham Norton show. It's a very different show. So it's a lot more sort of laid back and a bit more tangential. That's a symbol for people going off on a tangent. So you have a conversation. Obviously, people still come on and promote their stuff, as you would do for going on a talk show. That's the whole point of it. But then they go on the subject of crisps and crisp flavours and weird things, and then people from the audience start chatting about what they've been doing and what business they run, and then they have like a proper interaction. It's really weird. It's just like a sort of a chat. Like if there's a couple of famous people with us tonight, Giles, on this podcast, then it'll be very similar to the Claudia Winkleman show, apart from the fact that we've got no hair and Claudia's got too much hair, allegedly. So yeah, really good. We've been enjoying it. It's not like Graham Norton, but it's good fun and very laid back. So I recommend that one. I was going to say, one other thing we did do was we went to, you know, thingy, don't you? The woods near us, Sullen Woods, down the road, not far away. So, for years now, we've seen pink markings appear on the trees in Sullen Woods in sort of a professional-looking graffiti marking of some description. We never quite knew what they're for. We assumed it's either the tree was knackered or the tree needed to be knocked down or the tree was inhabited by badgers or beavers or wombats or something. But we found out recently because we went there a couple of weeks ago and like hundreds of trees have been felled and were just laying in a big pile at the front of Sullen Woods. So it turned out that those trees are the ones that have been earmarked for helping other trees to expand into their space.
Oh, nice.
So at the moment you walk through them, it's just full of tractor marks and massive vehicle marks through the mud of where they've taken all these trees away. And you can see the sky now. It's really weird. It's like quite light in there and not like a forest at all. So hopefully at some stage the other trees will make up for it. But for now, it's like a half-finished, empty wood, which you can see for the trees because there's not many trees. So there we go.
How do you think they decided on them? It feels like it's like a consultation from an HR department, isn't it? They sort of lined up all the trees and kind of compared their skills. Who was going to get chopped down in favour of the remaining ones?
Yeah, I like to think that they brought a team of paintballers out and just had a fight, and whichever trees ended up with paintball marks on them got chopped.
I like that. Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we decide it at work, to be honest. Pretty much.
That's the fairest way.
Yeah, random factor. Okay, well, thanks for the recommendation for Claudia. I've got one for you, which I'm sure you would enjoy if you haven't seen it already, which was Girl Bands Forever on iPlayer.
I think you mentioned it last month, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, well, we finished it off now, and I think we were running quite tight, so I skipped over it. But yeah, great nostalgia. No Girls Allowed is the only gap.
Yeah.
Because they kind of started way back in Eternal Days and original All Saints, or pre-All Saints, with Mel and Shaznay as a sort of double act trying to make it, which was quite fun. And came all the way through to the last episode was quite focused on Little Mix. But yeah, really good. Combined with there was a boy band one the previous year, and just as if you're in any doubt, it's not necessarily a happy place to be, one of those bands. Obviously lots of success, but quite a lot of bad stuff happening as well. Really interesting. There's only 3 episodes, and yeah, missing a few key contributors, but really worth a watch, and is on iPlayer if you're in the UK. I'd recommend. For those of us from that sort of era as well, wasn't just about the music. It was nice sort of nostalgia fest for people who we might used to listen to. It takes you back to uni days or school days, or in Little Mix's days, well after uni days. But yeah, really fascinating little time capsule.
I think the weird thing was with those is that from watching X Factor over the years, it made you think that like 16 or 17 was a normal age to get into show business.
Hmm.
And if you're over 25, you're like some kind of dinosaur. And obviously now looking back, being 47, thinking of someone who's 25 is like overage is now bizarre. But thinking back to it, if you start in a girl band, 15, 16, 17, or a boy band, this must be a crazy time. Got your hormones going everywhere. You've got a whole life you're meant to be figuring out for yourself, and suddenly you're in the spotlight every day. And these days, I couldn't imagine it at all, being famous, being constantly on social media and in the papers and everything. But in the old days, it was a lot easier. But now it must be horrific.
Yeah, they were sort of saying Little Mix was very much about like social media coming in, but I can't remember who it was before. Oh, it was what was it? Kerry Katona and Brian from Westlife. So they were really, that was like the height of tabloids and magazines. Magazines like Heat and all that stuff with the girl bands were, in hindsight, pretty horrendous. Anyway. Nostalgia, looking back, enjoying it, but also, feeling a little bit gross thinking about how horrible it must have been to be in that position. Just one thing before we move on, I recommend a film that I went to see at the cinema, which was Project Hail Mary. Terrible title.
Yeah, it really is.
I'd say Disclosure Day coming up from Steven Spielberg is much worse, although it looks quite good. So it's a film written by the same writer as The Martian. Don't worry, Maddie and Scotty, I'm not going to spoil it because I think they haven't seen it yet and really want to. But it's starring Ryan Gosling, so that might get you through the door depending on who you are listening. But otherwise, it was just a really good piece of sci-fi, kind of grounded. Essentially, something's going on with the sun, and humanity has to send someone off to try and save the world, or potentially lots of different worlds in lots of different solar systems. They don't quite know what's going on, and this teacher, I think secondary school teacher from America, finds himself up in that spaceship for some reason, which they do explain. It does sort of make sense in the end. It's the sort of sci-fi that I really like because it's not the sort of crazy, really heavy thinking stuff, which has its place and I quite enjoy, but it's also not kind of complete nonsense either. It's that sort of level of believable science that you kind of, if you don't think too much about, it's like, oh, this could actually happen, and it's sort of realistic how they deal with things, and then you think a little bit about it and think, no, that's complete nonsense. But it's kind of like a Castaway with Tom Hanks, but in space, and it made me genuinely laugh, cry, and I was on the edge of my seat. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good.
Everyone likes Ryan Gosling anyway. He seems like a nice guy, doesn't he? He's the kind of person you wouldn't mind spending some time with.
He's annoyingly cool for quite an attractive man, isn't he?
Yeah, I was also going to say, last episode, I was prompting myself to mention a story that I saw from maybe Brian Cox or someone on the internet about the fascination of space and the concept of light years and stuff.
Okay.
And that if an alien from like 100 light years away was viewing our planet, they'd be seeing it 100 years ago.
That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it in my head. So if they're far enough away, they'd be seeing like the time of the dinosaurs before humans came along. If they're many enough light years away, it's fascinating me. I've been thinking about that every minute of every day ever since. So therefore, I thought a lightning podcast for that one. Being that you mentioned sci-fi, that was again believable sci-fi that could be the basis of a fun movie, probably.
Well, there you go. I mean, if you're an alien watching this podcast, we were really quite young back then when we recorded. Now we're older men in our 70s or 80s, still desperately recording a monthly podcast, still with a increasingly viewership. We're up there in the hundreds by now, I'm sure. But we struggle with technology. Actually, that's true now, to be honest. If you saw our attempts to set up most months. Excellent. Thank you for that fun fact. That was good, James. Shall we stick on the kind of sci-fi spacey theme and move into our love it or leave it for this month? We'll get into gaming. Because we chose Planet of Lana 2, which is indeed set in on a different planet, Planet Novo. There are some sort of aliens and robots and stuff, so it's definitely in that world. It's a cinematic puzzle adventure. Set 2 years after the first game and built around companionship and trust, it says here. And I love this. As greed and power divide the tribes on their home planet, Lana and her companion Mui must stand together against the forces reshaping their world, struggling not just for survival, but the soul of their home. Does that capture it, James? Is that your summary of the game?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
no, it's a nice companion as well, Mui. It's very cute. The weird thing is, it says at the start, just in case you didn't realise it, that they deliberately chose a made-up language. That was an artistic choice. It says at the start, just to make sure you're not trying to translate it from some different language and think it's some strange foreign. It's just a made-up language. So the only words that make sense are Lana and Mui every now and again, and that's what they keep saying over and over. So, really good game for a starter. Spoiler alert, great game. Yeah, there's a number of chapters in it. Might be 8, might be 10. I think it's 8. I'm on chapter 5, so I'm just over halfway. So I completed a good chunk of it. I've probably taken about 4.5 hours out of my life so far, which is good. And it's the kind of game you look at and think it's really well made. Not really well put together. Graphically very nice. Everything feels good. Everything has a nice flow to it. When you control the character, it feels like you're doing it, and it feels like the character is nicely responding to what you're doing, which I really enjoyed. The story's a little bit out there. Obviously, I understand it a bit more as the game goes by, but you get some flashbacks through images of stuff and cutscenes of 100 years ago when Marie was little, and a few things happen to define stuff. So that's interesting. You get little snippets of stuff. I like the fact that you control different characters. So Lana's very much a straightforward character from any other side-scrolling platform. So she goes in different directions, she does different things, and she jumps a lot and slides and runs and does fun stuff. But then when you're controlling Mui, which is a cute little cat-like thing, bless him, or her, or they, sorry. So with Mui, you can control it by pressing the right button. So they pick a place on the screen where you want him, it to go to, and they go there and do some things. So they can press buttons, they can do some interactions, they can do a little magic special power thingy which bursts out of machines and puts them out of action for a little while, and fun stuff like that. So 2 completely different control systems. And then you also get extra little bits and pieces as well. So Mui can control fish, for example, and strange blobs of goo, and make them do things. And that's, again, a completely different control system for what you're doing with them. So it's really nicely done. So instead of being one protagonist, there is obviously one main protagonist, but you control lots of people doing lots of different things, and it makes the variation great. And there's fun vehicles to ride in as well. You get boats and all kinds of fun jazzy stuff. So really cool. Great game. Loving it so far. Very much glad we picked it as our game of the month, because I might not have played it otherwise. I'm just prompted to get into it, and I'll definitely finish it. So awesome game so far. And I think you agree, Giles, to the extent that you finished it, didn't you?
Yeah. So I completed. This is basically pretty much all I've played this month, which is interesting because I think I've finished it, and the chapters are really weirdly different lengths, aren't they? If you've got to chapter 5, chapter 3 is ginormous and is kind of Empire Strikes Back-ish in terms of how it finishes, and then chapter 4 is 5 minutes long.
Yeah, not
You've got another 2 of those. There's another really long one and another really short one. So if you're in chapter 5, you're probably actually quite far through it. And there's a bit of interference. If you finish it in the time you're currently on track, I think you'll be much quicker than me. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I loved the first game. That said, I thought we both talked about Inside and Limbo, and those are quite dark games, both in terms of the sort of subject matter and the presentation. This is a lot more bright and colourful, although in this game, Planet of Lana 2, you do go to some sort of dingy places as well. You go to some snow-capped mountains. There's a lot more variety in the settings, which I really enjoyed. But it is a bit more sort of bright and optimistic than those, and I think the first game was a sort of half step below those in terms of quality, whereas this one, I thought they'd added some extra complications and complexity. It's a bit weird because I think the first one might still be on Game Pass. So if you really do enjoy the second one, you could go back and play the first, but that'll be a bit strange because it's much more simple and quite a lot shorter. yeah, really enjoyed. They sort of reintroduced the mechanics, which, like you say, were there's quite a lot going on. I did get a little bit, can be a bit fiddly with all the different ways to control things. Sometimes you've got a lot of buttons to remember, but the puzzles I thought were also quite cool, quite challenging in some cases. Multi-screen, multi-stage type things where you think, oh, actually, I need to go back to that previous bit to move something over, or roll one of those little weird furry fuzzballs around and sort of get them to the right place. That was good. Yeah, gameplay, really enjoyed it. There's also some sort of action chases and things, which there's no combat, but it's faster paced than listeners, viewers, you might imagine from the description of a puzzle platformer. So if you're looking for a bit of adrenaline, there's the occasional sort of action scene, I suppose. And just the presentation for me, you said it's sort of well put together. I think it's not, AAA photorealistic 3D type graphics, but it is beautiful, I think, in how it's presented. There's a lot of depth to the side scrolling. It's like that sort of 2.5D, so you can see stuff going on in the background, and in some of the levels, particularly as you get later on, there's kind of whole worlds of stuff in the background, which is really good. And the sound, I thought, was worth calling out. Very Star Warsy, very kind of ladies and gentlemen introducing Hans Zimmer, that sort of film style. You've got that sort of sweeping orchestral score as the camera kind of pans back and reveals a lovely scene, a lovely wilderness, stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. And then the ambient sound. I think level 5, chapter 5, you'll have done the underwater stuff. There's a whale at one point. The whale swimming about in the background and all the sea around me just sounded amazing on my sound system. It was like being underwater doing some scuba diving or something. So that was nice. So yeah, love it. Some of the puzzles I thought were a little challenging, but just the right level. When I got stuck, it was my own fault because I was doing something stupid. I kept solving puzzles, but then not quite working out how to then execute that plan, which was kind of annoying. But yeah, what were your sort of pros and cons overall, James? You haven't finished it, so I don't know if you've got a score, work in progress.
Yeah, definitely presentationally, it's great. So the presentation, the whole style of it's very stylistic and very, very good. Look very professional. Look like it was a lot of time and effort gone into it. And every now and again, I think it's a really good game. Kind of the game that made you think, that's really good, as you're playing it rather than just looking back on it. It's really good. Like I said, the puzzles are great. I didn't mention the puzzles earlier, but I knew you would. Yeah, like I said, a good level of challenge. Some were fairly straightforward, but the bulk of them were in the middle or reasonably challenging. So you really had to think about them and work out all the things you could do to solve the puzzle. And like Giles said, even when you have solved the puzzle, actually trying to get it done is a bit of a challenge sometimes, because you know how you want that thing to get over there, but you're not quite sure how to tie it together. Yeah, so two really good points there, and yeah, just like I said, the sound's awesome as well. The whole game's awesome, isn't it? There's no bad parts about the game. There's no disappointing parts to it. You also mentioned the lack of combat, but unlike some games, there's a lot of dying to it. There's a lot of things that can kill you, which is nice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't like games when there's no peril. I like a bit of peril. So there's things that can electrocute you. There's things that can eat you. There's lots of things that can murder you, and also jumping off things can kill you as well if you don't do it correctly. So yeah, lots of mild peril, which I like. So great game. For me so far, 8.5 or 9. It's really that good. I don't think you could have done that type of game any better than that. It's perfect.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'm going 8.5. Weirdly, I thought it was going to be a 9 as I was playing along, but I felt like it's weird because it's sort of double the length of the first game, and it's definitely the expanded scope, the different locations that we talked about, a new tribe, new puzzles, new ways of doing the puzzles, like you said, with Mui sort of hypnotizing other animals and stuff. That was all really cool, but for me, maybe just a little bit overlong in places, like that chapter 3, which felt like it went on forever. There's another one a bit later on that feels like it's a bit long. But yeah, 8.5. I think 8.5 or 9 was the decision, and I settled for that half score. I feel like since I've started half scores, everything seems to be a half. So it sounds like we both really enjoyed it, though. So listeners, viewers, if you have checked it out, let us know what you think, or if you haven't, give it a go. Sounds like you should probably enjoy it. I mean,
They could have easily solved the chapter 3 issue by just making it chapter 3 and chapter 4.
They could, indeed.
There's a really obvious finish point in the middle of it. You thought,
yeah.
Right, okay.
True. Talking of obvious finish points, what else have you been playing, James?
Oh, I finished so many things this month, Charles. Crazy. So, we had a long chat last month, didn't we, about our Love It or Leave It game last month, which is Ace Combat 7, something to do with skies. Some skies, clear skies, blue
Deadly?
skies. No, they weren't deadly.
Something deadly?
When they not clear? Something to do with skies, anyway. Ace Combat 7. So, we talked about it last month, and at the time, I was really enjoying it, as was Giles, but at the time, I was really stuck on one particular level, which was really graining my gears. Something to do with gears or goats or something like that. And I thought I might give up at that point, but I made a vow on the podcast last month, possibly, I was going to carry on and try and get through it. And that evening after the podcast, I'd finished that level, like first time, bizarrely, as always you do. And then the next morning, I realised, as is so often the case, that you can upgrade your plane quite easily, and there's lots of improvements you can make, which I hadn't particularly realised before. You can add parts to it to make it faster and turn better and all kinds of jazz. So that made it a lot easier. And after that one, I loved it. So I tried to do some playthrough guides after the podcast to work out where I was going wrong. And all the guys just say, yeah, just get good. I was like, oh, okay, awesome, thanks. But bizarrely, in the end, I got good. So in the end, I finished the whole game. Really enjoyed it. It's a good story. Constant combat, constant interesting parts. Every mission was very different. It felt really arcadey, but in a nice, half-realistic way. Just loved the game in the end, so that was really, really good. And I really enjoyed the fact that I finished it, and because I thought I wasn't good enough to do that kind of game anymore, but clearly I am. You just need to be a bit more persistent and actually read the menus and do the upgrades at the time you're meant to, rather than just forgetting about upgrades completely, like I do in most games. So yeah, probably 8.5. Yeah, I wouldn't play it again, but it wouldn't put me off playing that type of game again. So if there's an Ace Combat 8 with something else to do with skies and a random word, then I'll happily play that as well, because the campaign was very enjoyable.
I sneakily looked it up while you were talking. It's Skies Unknown.
Is it?
So I think we were failing to remember it because it was the other way round.
That's skies in it, isn't it?
It did have skies in it, so half a point each.
We are quite old, to be fair. It's a miracle that we remember to get up in the morning, let alone have video games.
That's very true. Do you want to do another one, James? Because I've really got very little to talk about.
Yeah, well, that's one game that I finished, and we also finished another game just today. Me and Joshua have been playing the epic game, which I've mentioned twice before on the podcast, Split Fiction. I've said before, it's one of the best games I've played, definitely, and it finished strongly as well. So we played it for another couple of hours today and raced through the rest of it. I've mentioned before, but you sort of go into a place, you're two aspiring authors, and you go into this industry owned by a boat called Radar, and it's kind of a virtual reality thing. So you sit inside a machine and it transports you into the world in which your book is based. So you can actually be within the world of your fiction book, which is quite fun. And these two characters, one has a change of heart at the last minute and tries to escape. She falls over into the pod belonging to this other person, so they end up in the same virtual reality simulation together. And when they're in there, they realise that the whole company behind it are just trying to steal everyone's ideas rather than actually turn them into published authors, and they've been scammed, effectively. So they spend the whole of this game, probably about 20 hours, trying to escape from the simulation and get back out into the real world and keep their ideas intact without them having been stolen. And one of the girls writes fiction in terms of fantasy, and one of the girls writes fiction in terms of sci-fi. So you move between fantasy levels and sci-fi levels and bits of both, and you wear different outfits, and it's all based on their previous books and previous dreams and previous experiences. So it brings their memories to life in a really fun way. So I mentioned before, it's a successor to It Takes Two, which we both enjoyed before. It Takes Two was fairly straightforward, but this one is a lot trickier. So it's literally constant, all over the place, quite complicated. Joshua found it fairly straightforward, but I was a little bit behind him on quite a lot of occasions because he loves to run through games and he sees things a lot quicker than I do these days. But we managed to keep up together, lots of puzzles to solve, similar to this game, but you have to do everything in two-person. And in the last 2 hours of the game, it's really trippy in parts, because at that stage, when a machine's starting to go wrong because you found so many glitches, your worlds merge into one thing. So like half a screen is a fantasy novel and half a screen is a sci-fi novel. And as you walk to the other side of the screen, you transform into that novel. It's really difficult. So one of you's got to solve some puzzles and stuff on one side of the screen, and the other one's in a completely different world on the other side of the screen. It's really complicated. And you're like upside down, left and right. You're moving between obstacles on different sides of the screen. It's crazy. And then some bits jump in, and you're like a pit of piranhas jump in the middle of the screen, and you're chasing around between two different worlds trying to get away from these nuts. But great fun. So yeah, there's not too much you can say about it that I've not already said before. It's just almost a perfect puzzle platformer game for two people. The best co-op game I've ever played. I don't think it'll ever get better than that one. It's a brilliant game. The final boss took a lot of effort to get through because it's one of those bosses that regenerates about 4 times, and it just takes about an hour. So really good fun. Joshua loved it. I loved it. Probably one of the best games I've ever played together. Probably one of the best games I've ever played. So probably a 9, 9.5. It really is that good. So if you've not played Split Fiction and you have a friend or family member who you can rope into playing it with you, recommend it. Go and do it. You won't regret it. It's superb.
Excellent. Thank you, James. And it's probably due to come to Game Pass fairly soon because it's a EA, I've forgotten what they call it, but EA's kind of smaller label. They tend to be added to Game Pass after about a year or so through EA Play. And I believe it came out in March 2025. It's just over a year. So I think if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you might be able to play that fairly soon. I do want to play it. I do like that sort of game. But can I find a friend or family member to rope into playing? Watch this space. Your description of It Takes Two being quite simple and this being complicated, we struggled in It Takes Two. So let's see. But that's fantastic. I mean, it sounds great fun. And it's so nice to share that with Joshua, isn't it?
No,
That's kind of part of the fun.
Yeah, it's literally non-stop action though. You really got to have your wits about you.
Yeah, there's no chance. I'm going to see if there's an easy raid and then maybe we'll give it a go. Well, from sociable to the most antisocial way of playing games, the only other thing I've played in any length of time this month is I've played Assassin's Creed Nexus on the MetaQuest VR. So, and the reason for playing it largely is I've been curious for a while. I really enjoy the early Assassin's Creed games, the sort of smaller scope ones before they went a bit RPG. They're probably great too, but just need to find the time to play those big games. Something like Valhalla, I think, was like 100 hours, and there's just lots of other things to do.
Yeah.
So this was built for VR, built exclusively for the Meta Quest, I believe. It is a series of levels covering off Assassin's Creed 2, so Ezio's Rome and his sort of home. Assassin's Creed 3, so Connor, Boo, in the American Revolution, everyone's least favourite setting, but I thought it was quite a cool setting, just Connor was a bit boring. And Odyssey, which is one of those big RPG types with Cassandra, so set in Greece. It's what you'd kind of expect from Assassin's Creed in VR, except it's actually like a fully fledged game. So you might expect it to be kind of scaled back. It is, I think, about 12 hours. They're self-contained missions. I've only played probably 2-3 hours of it so far. But the reason for getting on with it was that it was added to the subscription thing for MetaQuest in January, and they're rudely taking it away at the end of March. So they obviously decided that they just wanted to give people a taste and then hook them in to buy it, which fair enough. Whereas for someone like me, I just saw it was leaving and thought, well, I should give it a couple of hours before it goes, see if it's any good next time it's on sale or whatever. And it was really impressive, but this kind of really weird combination. Basically, you are sort of infiltrator, Assassin's Creed, if anyone's not familiar, I'm sure everyone listening is. You kind of go into this animus, or this sort of virtual reality construct, and then take over someone, an assassin in history. And so you're doing all that stuff, usual stuff, but you're doing all of it. You're doing the parkour, running across rooftops, you are assassinating people with your hidden blade, you're sword fighting, all in VR, so you can imagine how sick you might feel doing all of this. And it is quite fast paced. So amazing scale and ambition. It's sort of, for someone who played the original on Xbox 360 back in the day and really enjoyed it, you are kind of in those sorts of games. It feels like a 360 game graphically on a standalone VR headset, which is nuts. I don't know how much they spent on this game, but I don't think it made the money back because they never did another one. That sense of presence is brilliant. Surprisingly physical. So I mentioned, if you're in immersive mode, you will be running along, sort of skipping from beam to beam across these big gaps, whether that's between buildings or between sections of flooring. You're not physically jumping, you're using the parkour button, which makes it a bit of a mixed experience. But when you have to swing on a beam above your head, you are having to grab it at the right time and swing, which is surprisingly good workout. You're clambering up walls and things. You need to do that physically, walls, ladders. So I somehow have managed to not punch a wall in real life doing all of this, which is quite a miracle because I'm not playing in a big space. And the sense of speed and excitement as you're running through in VR, when it works really well, it does feel like you're there, and it's really cool. The caveat is, as I said, you're still holding a button to jump from beam to beam. You're still pushing a stick forward in your hand to actually move rather than walking forwards. And so that feels a bit weird. So I also maybe sort of telling for me rather than a standard player. But sometimes you feel like a complete badass assassin because you're pulling it off. Quite a lot of the time you feel like a fumbling idiot because you're missing the grip or scrambling up a wall but not quite grabbing onto the top bit and sliding your way down. So it's, I'm not the best assassin. I don't think I'll take up the job. And VR sword fighting is rubbish, for the record. You're just like wafting around. It's very clunky and dorky. I put down here. I was like a donkey. A donkey would have probably been better at using a sword than I was. So it was really fun to try for free. It's impressive. It's a sign of what can be done when people invest in VR. But I think what it reminded me was that I really enjoy weird, different VR experiences. I think that's what it suits best. Slow puzzle type games, things like Beat Saber, which are good workouts, the sort of thing you couldn't do on standard flat screen gaming. This is what happens if you take a really good flat screen game and kind of try and make it properly into fully VR. And it made me think of the Jurassic Park quote, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think impressive, not quite for me. It hasn't got the hooks in. I won't be buying it, but it was. I'm really glad I got to try it. So thank you, MetaQuest Horizon Plus or whatever your stupid subscription is called, James.
It's another experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you want to know my Assassin's Creed secret?
Yes, please.
I think I own 5 different Assassin's Creed. I've never played a minute of any of them. It's quite an effort.
Talk me through these bad life choices.
They always look really cool.
Yeah.
So I get them on a subscription or have a reason, or if in a sale or something. I think, like the Odyssey one looks awesome, and they all look awesome. Lots of revolve around ancient history, which I've got a passion for, obviously from my olden days. So I get them, and then I realise that they're really long games, and then something else crops up, and I never get around to playing them. So I've literally got 5 or 6 Assassin's Creed games to start from scratch and get through at some stage. So when you say everyone out here knows the concept of each game, I know the concept, but I've never actually experienced the concept. So there we go, that's my little Assassin's Creed secret. I'm a closet Assassin's Creed not player.
Excellent. Well, maybe next month's Love It or Leave It can be Assassin's Creed 1 from 2020 or whatever it was. Whatever's first on your list.
Yeah. Do any of them only last 5 hours or not?
Yeah, the early ones were maybe 12 hours, I think, was the first one. So Ezio, confusingly, there were 3 versions of Assassin's Creed 2, essentially, because everyone realised that Ezio was the main character, was clearly the best character. So they just did 2 more games with him, but refused to call that 3 or 4. They're just Assassin's Creed 2. And then subtitle. And then they kind of went to the American Civil War, which they thought would be a really good setting. And to be fair, it was. But they just picked the most boring character, Connor, in history. Assassin's Creed 4 is a pirate thing. That's really cool. Then what have you got? Paris.
Is that Black Flag?
Black Flag, going to be remade quite soon.
Yeah, that looked really cool.
Paris is good Unity, Syndicate and Jack the Ripper London, and then all the more and more. So yeah, I've played quite a lot, as you can imagine. But
yeah, I haven't.
VR.
They look really good.
Give it a try, James. What if you can tear yourself away from simulators? Because I think that tends to be your jam, doesn't it?
I mean, in some ways, life is a simulation, isn't it? Really, as far as we know, we're never going to really work out until we die, probably. And then we'll never work out it's all been a simulation, including this podcast. Anyway, so I played a few simulation games this month. I'll start with one that I thought Giles might have been interested in. It's called Retro Rewind. Try saying that with 47-year-old teeth. So the premise is you're in a 90s video store that, as in every simulation game, has been closed down for a while. For some reason, you go to take over and to bring about better times. So on day one, you go into this video store. And it's quite cool because on day one, you go to... There's a little computer out the back. There's an actual storefront. There's like a returns drop section where people return their used video thingies after they've rented them. For those who are quite young, in the olden days, in mine and Giles' time, you used to go into a video store and rent videos before DVDs came out even. You used to pay like £3.49 at your local video store and keep them for 1 to 3 nights, depending on how popular they were, and then return them. And if you return them late, you got a fine. There we go. So you went into the video store in this game, and you can buy shelving units to put your videos on. As you upgrade through the levels, you can get a popcorn machine and a thingy machine and get some other little vending machines for your shop. And you can get expansions to make your video store bigger. And the premise is you come in at the start of each day, you take all the stuff from the drop box that's been returned, you put them back on the shelves. You then order some more videos to put on the shelves. And then as you go up each 3 levels, you get different movie genres pop in. So you start off with drama, and then you can get kids, and you can get police ones, you can get horror ones, you can get action ones, all kinds of stuff. So you get a shelf for each one, and the more videos you get, the more people come in to rent your videos. You get customer requests, so they come up to you and ask for a recommendation for a good horror film, and you go out and pick a request for them. You get reservations on the phone, all kinds of fun stuff. So it's really addictive, not particularly complicated, not much peril in it because you can't really lose. But you just expand your store, you get through the 20 levels, and eventually you unlock every genre and every piece of equipment, every upgrade in your store, and that's it, really. So I'm up to like level 17 now, so I've put a decent bit of time into it, considering how basic the game is. But again, the reviews are very high on Steam. That's why I've been playing it on Steam, like I play most strategy, simulation type games. And I've really enjoyed it, and it's a bit different. It scratches a strange itch, and it's got a nice bit of nostalgia in as well, because sometimes people return videos that haven't been rewound, and you've got to put them into a rewind machine and rewind them before you can put them back in the box and back on the shelf. So good fun, very enjoyable. Recommend it if you like 90s video games involving videos. So that's that one. And then go for it.
I was just going to say that does sound like my sort of thing in the sense of I think if they were still around now, that would probably be maybe one of my dream jobs, working in a video store. That sounds like a lot of fun. But I guess the mild peril is that a streaming service comes along and kills the whole industry.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what's to come on level 18 or 19, perhaps.
The only inauthentic part is that you don't have half a VHS and half a Betamax in your store. It's just all VHS. It's already been decided by that stage. One of the amusing parts is obviously the video tiles are sort of automatically generated. So each video has a name based on a number of words and a number of pictures on the front of the box, so you can define it from the other ones. And some of the names are quite amusing. You've even got an adult film section as well, so you've got like lots of porn titles, and they've all got bizarre names and like hands squeezing cucumbers on the front of the box and all kinds of funny stuff. So it's quite comical in part. And each day only takes like 10 minutes. You can employ staff members to do the bits for you, so you don't have to dick around with that stuff. Good fun, recommended. That was my number one simulation game of the month. The one I spent even more time on is one called Mega Store Simulator. Ooh. You know it's going to be good if it's got simulator in the actual title itself.
Indeed, yeah.
You may remember from last year or the year before, I played a game called Supermarket Simulator, which simulated running a supermarket. And again, the premise is very similar for this one, as you might imagine. So you start off in a store, but this one is a bit more open worldy because you can choose from lots of different types of products. So you can initially start off as being like a toy store or a music store or a fashion store or a grocery store. And as you go through time, you can expand your store and go into other fields. So I started off with like toys, So there's lots of plushes on my shelf. So I gradually expanded into groceries, and now I've got virtually every type of thing at my store. You can go on 2 levels in a superstore. So you run the till yourself originally, you stock the shelves yourself, and then you can employ staff to do those things for you. And bizarrely, I've got really into automating my warehouse. So you can have a massive warehouse out the back, all with lots of racking. And if you set up correctly, then as the lorry arrives up full of stuff you've ordered on your little handheld thingies you go around the store, then people unload it for you, put it on the shelves, and then someone else takes it from the shelf and puts it in the actual storefront. Awesome. It's a really satisfying experience when it's all running smoothly. And each day you can put more parts of the store and you can expand the store, you can get more product lines in. It's just a really nice feel to it. Again, no real peril to it. You can't really lose again. You just work through the levels and it's great fun. Strangely stimulating in a simulating way.
I feel like there's some potential therapy opportunity here, James, that you seem to really enjoy just a game where you can set things up and they just work and nothing goes horribly wrong and it's all just smoothly running. It feels like maybe work is like on your mind and you're just like, I just want things to run smoothly by the time I get home.
The weird thing is I generally hate cozy games. If anyone mentions the word cozy in a game, I hate it. I hate the idea of it. But then these kind of games, intrinsically, they're quite cozy.
Yeah.
Because it's quite relaxing, quite pleasant to play. But you can keep getting things bigger and bigger and expanding. And I like improving and changing things. And also, it helps with my brain because normally my brain is full of thoughts. As we discussed before, I've always got a constant internal monologue in my head. Sometimes like 5 different internal monologues at the same time, plus a few songs and some film quotes in there as well. All at the same time, it gets a bit messy and tangential. But when you're playing this kind of game, you sort of concentrate and your mind just sort of chills as you're expanding your mega store empire. So I feel like I've achieved something because each day you have a slightly bigger store and you have slightly more products. In the grand scheme of things, not a massive achievement, but for my little brain, it's got the little endorphin hits every now and again and it calms me down. So all quite pleasant.
Sounds good.
That's my 2 simulators. You got anything else, Shira? Is that it for you?
It's pretty much it. No, I mean, the only other thing we've been playing is Hannah and I are still going with Rise of the Golden Idol. But seeing as we talked about it last month and haven't finished it, we'll probably save any reviews. So far, the only thing is echoing last month, really, that it has it's got a lot more complicated than the first game. Lots more interaction between the different scenarios, and that's both a good and a bad thing. But there's the reason why it's taking us a while to get through it is that means that each scenario is a bit more like sort of 45 to 90 minutes. And so it was the perfect game to just kind of slot in after watching something before bed or something like that. And now you need to put time a bit more aside for it. So it's very good. It's still very good. But I'd recommend the first game probably over this one at the moment. But let's see how we go. Cool. You got one more, haven't you, James?
Yeah, my last little one is one that I've mentioned before on the podcast I was looking forward to, and it's called Nova Roma. So, New Rome. So basically the premise is Rome used to be quite a big deal in the olden days, in the Roman Empire times. But the concept in this game is Rome has gone to rack and ruin. It's been gone to excess and everything's gone a bit Pete Tom. So for some reason it's all on fire, and you sail away in a boat with about 20 of your pals, including some freed slaves and some of your noble pals, and you go to a different island. And the idea is to set up a new version of Rome, a nicer version of Rome that hasn't gone to rack and ruin on this new island. So you get a choice between different procedurally generated islands, and then you basically build a city. You start off with a couple of little hovels, which you can then turn into insula and all kinds of stuff. And it's the kind of game which is so often done, which I've so often enjoyed, is you start stuff from scratch and you work through the product lines to keep people happy. So you build a little accommodation, then you get a well nearby which covers their area so you can get water. And then you build some farmland so you can get wheat for their stuff. And then you move on to creating grapes so you can get a bit more grapiness. And then you get some farm proper stuff, so you got some animals to kill. And you set up a little fishing area. So it's just really cool. Put the roads through it all, cut down all the forestry and all the stones and set up stone mines and all kinds of stuff. It's the same people who made Kingdoms and Castles, which I loved about 3 years ago, which I've talked about in the podcast before. And this game so far is really cool, but it's just got the bonus of it all looking a bit Roman. So anything that looks a bit Roman floats my boat in some ways. So it's a very similar city builder type concept, which is nicely done, but also with the Roman part to it as well, which brings with it gods and stuff. So you can build little temples, and then if you don't do what the gods ask you to do, then they get angry and start trashing your stuff. But if you do what they want you to do, then they give you little bonus points which you can use on the development tree. On the development tree, you can spend 3 points to discover aqueducts or discover farmlands or whatever else. See, the more you get on the tree, the more you can satisfy your residents' basic needs to expand your empire. And then you do the military stuff, so you build lots of walls and build an army to stop being attacked, all that kind of jazz. It's just really cool. I'm only about 2 hours in so far, but it's generally quite hooking so far as well. And given the title, the type of the game, and the concept with the Roman history, it's perfect for me. So one I'll be playing a lot over the next few weeks, I will no doubt talk about again next month and I'm a bit more into it.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's the sort of game you could get completely lost in, isn't it? Those sorts of city builders, and I think that's Xbox Game Pass on PC. Is that right? As part of Game Pass, or did you buy it?
I definitely did. No, did I? I don't know.
I think it's on PC Game Pass. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's annoying. I think I bought it on Steam. I think.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's not. Don't worry about it. It sounds like you're going to get your money's worth if you did buy it.
Anyway, yeah. Very good game.
Misremembered. Excellent. Well, hopefully I'll get a bit more time to play this month. We've got Easter obviously coming up. We're not going away. We do have another little mini break coming up, unfortunately, but only from a gaming point of view. I'm very much looking forward to it otherwise. But this sort of, the game we've chosen for this coming month's Love It or Leave It is the sort of game that I think I could easily take on my ROG Ally, so I can definitely take it with me. Because it's Marvel Cosmic Invasion, he says, reaching for his other device, just to remind himself. This is an arcade-style side-scrolling beat-em-up with a kind of pixelated art style. In the game, you control a variety of Marvel superheroes, battling hordes of enemies across various locations, single-player or multiplayer, and you can play local co-op. So that might be something you could rope Joshua into trying, and I might rope Hannah into trying as well. Cool. Loads of characters if you're into Marvel, Black Panther, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, She-Hulk, Wolverine, Silver Surfer and Venom, all that good stuff. And it's also on Game Pass, so we will be trying it out this coming month. You looking forward to that one, James? Quite short, I think. Yeah,
only 3 to 4 hours you put on the notes, so that's perfect for us. So you might be able to get the whole thing finished in the space of I Love It or Leave It bit, which is good. We've always been quite into Marvel. We were into Marvel for quite a while. And then Joshua suddenly went off a little bit and started refusing to watch films because they're too long and takes too much brain power. And he'd rather watch YouTube shorts on his phone. But there we go. So he likes Marvel. So yeah, we'll give it a go together. And that could be our new game now that we finish Split Fiction. Yeah, it could be fun. I used to enjoy those sort of Streets of Rage type Double Dragon, go along, beat up a rubbish bin and get a roast chicken out of it to regain health. It's that sort of game. So it could be fun. Nice, simple, sort of immediate returns, I would have thought. And like we always say, if you want to play it, you feel free to play and let us know how you get on social media, or just give us a ring, let us know how you feel about it. Very much so. Send your carrier pigeons in this direction. Excellent. It's been a busy month for news, James, so we should probably cover some of that. Should we start with the Xbox Partner Showcase? This was a smaller show. 19 games, 14 of them apparently coming to Game Pass. I think we both talked about some of these things when the games are miles and miles out. It's hard to get too excited, but there's some good stuff in this, weren't there? Wasn't there? Wasn't there? It wasn't there. What took your fancy out of these selection? A few things. I think we agreed on a couple of them, but some you didn't mention. This game called Grave Seasons. So it's kind of like a cozy farming sim. Again, it's got a simulator in it, but cozy, which I'm not a big fan of. But what makes it less cozy, this one, is there's some kind of supernatural serial killer twist to it, which is quite fun. So I haven't watched the trailer for it earlier today, and it looked quite interesting. So you basically, as always, take over your relative's ailing estate, and you start doing farming and stuff. But then somewhere on the line, some of your actions upset someone somewhere, and then serial killers and strange black creatures start coming towards you and doing things. So it looked really interesting. So as a simulation type game, I'd probably give it a go, and hopefully it will defeat the coziness by being pounced upon and murdered every now and again. So good fun.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like the look of Stranger Than Heaven, which was a sort of presented like almost a 70s kung fu movie in the trailer, which I admired a lot. Set across, I think, 5 different kind of eras in the same location. So you get to see the city, the town evolve throughout time. It's kind of a 3D beat 'em up kung fu epic thing. Is by Sega, and some of the early Yakuza, for anyone who played those when they were beat 'em ups before they became sort of turn-based RPGs, which was quite a strange pivot, but seemed to work out for them. Quite enjoyed that sort of stuff. Loved Shenmue and that sort of thing back in the day. So feels like it might scratch that itch. And I think there is a kind of focused stream on that in May. James, sorry, there's a lot of crosstalk on the audio. I don't know if you can hear that, but maybe it's me. Hopefully, listeners, you can't hear it. That's fine. So yeah, there's a special stream in May which will give us more details. But that was one of the ones that stood out for me. And then we've got a few that we picked together, didn't we? You picked the same ones as me for the next couple.
Yeah, it might have been a voice in my head talking. Who knows?
It could be. Random.
Yeah. We both mentioned Eternal Life of Goldman, didn't we?
Yes,
because it involves an old geezer. Although he has long grey hair, and we don't have long grey hair. We might have done if we had hair, but we don't. I like one quote from it. It said right at the end of the trailer, it says, "Some people get so old they simply forget to die." So I thought, what a great tagline for this show and my life in general. I'm so old that I've just forgotten to die, so I'm still here existing and playing video games at my ridiculous age. So you can explain the concept, Giles, but it looked quite fun, didn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a sort of Metroidvania type game, isn't it? And I think, both talked about. We really enjoyed Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. There's definitely been a few of that type of game that we've played between us or individually over the last few years that we've enjoyed. But we also, I think, neither of us particularly connected with Hollow Knight. It's a bit too difficult and a bit too easy to get lost in. So maybe this is that sort of game, but for us, which would be very good. And also in Game Pass, so we can give it a try. And it was one of 2 games, wasn't it? Because we both picked the other one, which was also about an old person, which was called Forever Ago, which I heard it described, which I thought summed it up nicely. It's an old man sort of driving around in an old VW camper van, revisiting kind of old haunts. Someone described it as Firewatch meets Disney's Up, which I very much enjoyed Firewatch, and I could completely see that. So it had that sort of vibe about it that I thought sounded quite good. But I enjoyed your notes, James, your description of this. What did you could see this going one of 2 ways. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so it could be interesting. It could be really quite tedious because they make a big play about the fact that you take lots of photographs on your still camera to invoke memories of the past, and that kind of brings us back to that other game, doesn't it? That whatever that game was that we played with the girls in it from the 90s.
Lost Records, yeah.
Bloom and Rage, yeah.
Bloom and Rage.
And the first one kind of got annoying because she kept taking videos of everything and you couldn't really work out why it didn't really have much of a story. So this one, it might get quite tedious quite quickly, but hopefully not. Hopefully it's the charming side of an old man's life rather than the tedious side of an old man's life, which is what we're used to.
Indeed. You had one more, I think, on that list.
Yeah, very cool one called Artificial Detective, which looked really good. I think it's a bit further off this one, so I won't talk about it much. But it's an action adventure. All the humans have been wiped out. You're like a there's like a robot. There's like one remaining human called Mowgli or something in it. And you're a detective that's trying to work out why the humans have all been wiped out and how it happened and trying to resurrect it all somehow. So the first trailer came out and looked really interesting and a bit different and quite fun. So I'll be looking out for that one. But I think it's next year, I think, possibly. So we shall see.
Yes, yeah, that and the Expanse game, which is also next year, look quite cool. Yeah, the only other 2 I wanted to mention was Dispatch is coming to Xbox, which James talked about in previous episodes. If you didn't have a listen, please do go back. He was a big fan, I believe, and it's been on Switch, PC, and PlayStation for a while, so it's coming to Xbox because it hasn't been released until now. And the other one was Hades 2, which another of those games, Hades, that everyone seemed to love, and I gave it a fairly quick go to and didn't quite get into. But again, continuing your love of classics and gods and monsters and stuff, James, I thought you might might be into that one, and that's coming in April. So also on Game Pass and other platforms. So lots of good stuff, really, for quite a small showcase. I thought there was loads of interesting things that we could check out.
Yeah, nothing in it sounded awful. Nothing felt like a filler. It was all quite good, wasn't it?
There we go.
Bang for bucks.
As if we needed more choices to spend our limited time in. But there we go. The other major news, really, well, a couple of bits. A few things around hardware. Xbox really announced their Project Helix, their sort of next generation console / PC / initiative, which I actually quite excited about. I mean, it's going to be very expensive, so that obviously puts everybody off. And I think it's kind of the mother of necessity. No, what's the expression? Necessity is the mother of invention for Xbox here, because I think they've realised rather belatedly that they're not competing in the console space, and so they're sort of realised, hey, hang on, we have Windows, let's try and make Windows a bit better for gaming, so people don't automatically have to use Steam. And so they're kind of pivoting Xbox over in that direction. But what I really like about it is, as someone who has got lots of different machines and some different subscriptions and things this generation, the idea of bringing over my Xbox library into a decent PC, which I've never had, but I've started using the ROG Ally, so I've started going into that direction for PC gaming. I could potentially plug in my MetaQuest as a VR headset because it's a PC. So it all kind of clicks together for me, but that's a very specific combination of use cases, which we'll see how sort of mainstream and popular that is. But yeah, I thought it looked good. James, you've already got a pretty good PC, haven't you? So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, PC's fine. Also, putting Project in front of it always confused me, because years ago I bought a Project Scorpion, which was a type of Xbox, but it was just an Xbox One X variation that was in black at the time, and they called it Project Scorpio for some reason. So I got it because it looked quite cool. I got it second hand from somewhere nearby. So that was my first ever Xbox One X. So to put Project in front of it this time confuses it slightly for me. But anyway, minor detail. And Helix as well. What's Helix got to do with anything? Anyway, completely changing the branding of it, which is interesting. But for me, like Giles said, I've got a good PC already, and we've already got the Series X. And I've already played Xbox Game Pass games on the PC anyway, so it's not like you can't play Xbox Game Pass games on a PC already. So I've already been doing that. So the use case for me is not as obvious as for some other people, because I'm already doing all the things that it offers in my own special way already. So it doesn't get me excited particularly. And given the cost, it's going to be incredibly expensive, obviously, which puts it out of most people's price range. So I'm not sure what kind of user they're going for. Because if you've got that kind of disposable income to spend, then you've probably already got a gaming PC and everything else already. So I'm not sure what the market is for it, personally.
Let's try. Giles is waving. So those of you on audio. Yeah, Project Helix, I think it is a project name. I don't think it'll be final. And Scorpio was definitely, that was the code name for Xbox One X. So I think they just released a sort of limited edition. But yeah, I mean, Xbox naming conventions have never been great, have they? They were in a bit of a problem because they didn't want to be Xbox 2 when it was PlayStation 3. So they went with 360. And after that, they were like, we can't really do this unless we just skip a number, which is what they probably should have done all along. So yeah, I really like Helix because it's about their DNA and it looks like an X and it's bringing together PC and you can see how they got there, but I'm sure that will change come launch. But over on the PlayStation side of things, PSSR 2 looks quite impressive on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Kind of makes the PS5 Pro a lot more attractive as a machine, I think, than before. So this is a upscaling technology, and it's showing some pretty good results. James, I think you were suitably impressed. Tell us what happened.
Really? Yeah, that wasn't the reason I was impressed. I was impressed because the price was going up, and I thought, let's get one now. I might be able to make some money out of it. Anyway, because Giles mentioned the other day the price has gone up, and the price has gone up quite a lot. Really, for PlayStation. So the baseline digital version of the PS5, not the Pro, just a normal PS5, it went up last year by about 15%. It's gone up this year by like 21% or something crazy. Yeah. So it's like 500 and some 500 some quid now. It's a load of money for a non-disc drive version. And the PS Pro is going up to 740, 750 without a disc drive. Crazy stuff. Which I wrote down on the sheet. So
790 on the sheet, it says.
Yeah, nuts, isn't it? So 790 for a non-disc drive PlayStation 5 Pro. And the disc drive itself costs 70 quid, so you're looking at £850 plus for a decent a PlayStation Pro. Anyway, so when Giles mentioned the price rise, and it's going up on the 2nd of April, I think, well, I immediately hit eBay, like I often do in these circumstances, to find someone selling a PlayStation 5 Pro for a decent price at the moment before the price rise, in the hope that someone hadn't realised they were going to go massively up in price and to hold on for a week. So I went and bought one, as is so often the case. So my one cost 530 quid. From some place that had a 10% discount on, so it saved me 50 odd quid from their advertised price, which made it comfortably the cheapest, including postage. So that's on the way and coming Wednesday. And after that, I then looked into the videos that Giles sent about the PSSR2, and it did look quite impressive. So there we go. That wasn't the reason I got it in the first place. I went into it because I always want the latest type stuff, but a long time after it's come out to make it affordable. And like with the PS5, I said I wouldn't get a PS5 unless it came in under 300 quid on eBay. And eventually I got one for 295, so I bought it at that stage. And now the fact that it's like a disc version will cost about 600 quid makes it seem what a bargain it is a few years ago when I bought it. And you'd assume by now the price would be coming down because they normally come down after a few years of a device being out, but they're just soaring in the other direction, bizarrely. So yeah, get in while the price is still achievable.
You'll probably end up selling your old PS5 for more than you bought it for, which would be an incredible and a ridiculous situation. And you said for Xbox, this is going to be the Helix is going to be a really expensive device, and he's going to have that disposable income. I think there's a genuine concern for he's going to be able to afford any of these consoles next generation. But I'm sure we'll leave the money men to work that one out.
Even this generation, like I said before, in the olden days, a child used to be able to ask for a PlayStation or an Xbox for Christmas or for their birthday, and it was almost affordable. But now it's not at all, is it? No parents, unless they're really loaded, no one's going to spunk 700 quid on a PS5 for their kid for a Christmas present. That's like ridiculous amounts of money for most people these days in a cost of living crisis. So yeah, it takes a lot of the market away, so it's fascinating to see who they're aiming at anymore.
What we're saying is, Joshua, if you're listening, you might want to rethink your expectations. Is that what we're saying?
No, I mean, we're lucky in our house, haven't we? We've already got the Series X on the Xbox. Yeah. We've already got the PlayStation 5. We're about to get the PlayStation 5 Pro this week, so we've got the two top-of-the-line consoles as it is.
Nice.
They didn't do a mid-range. They didn't do a mid-series Xbox improvement, did they?
No, they were thinking of one at one point, but they decided to scrap it, which is probably why the sort of new next generation is likely to come in quicker for Xbox than it is for PlayStation. And I guess if it is largely PC based, then that is the end of generations on Xbox, which I'd be very, very happy with the sort of gradual upgrade, as long as you're not paying however much it is for a new graphics card. But we'll see. It's a whole new world, and maybe we'll just be streaming our games from now on and not need any of these expensive devices. We'll just need a very expensive, very planet-destroying data center to stream it all to us. Happy days.
But like I said, it'd be interesting to see if Project Helix is expandable or not, or whether it's just fixed in time and you can't upgrade it, or whether it's designed to be upgraded. Because if it's designed to be upgraded, like you said, I guess each upgrade cycle will just be getting a new component and ramming it in. Plugging it in,
exactly. Yeah. There were some games also announced, although, to be fair, time of recording, PS Plus games haven't been announced for April yet officially, likely to be announced before this episode drops, so just a bit of a shame on timing there. Game Pass Next Wave also hasn't been fully announced, although there's a few games we mentioned that are highlighted in the stream, such as Hades 2, Super Meat Boy 3D is about to land as we record. Replaced is finally coming in April, which is very exciting. If you're on Premium, not Ultimate, we would both highly recommend Expedition 33. James, I think that was that your game of the year last year, from memory?
It was. Great game. Almost perfect game.
Aphelion from Don't Nod looks very good to me. I've really enjoyed a lot of their stuff. They did Life is Strange, and then they've done Vampire and Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, which I played for a bit and enjoyed, but I haven't gone back to. And lots of other stuff. James, you've got a few things on your list you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, you've already mentioned Replaced, which does look really good. Like set in a cyberpunk world, sort of a puzzle, platform, combat, trio combo. That looks really interesting. I didn't realise it was on Game Pass until the time when I looked back at your notes and realised it's going to Game Pass. So that'd be another one annoyingly I can have to play now. So that kind of ruins my life for April as well. Thank you very much. A couple of little parts. We've mentioned simulations already. There's one called Tiny Bookshop. So Tiny Bookshop's already out on Steam. It's about 96%. It's incredibly high, considering what people like these days. People generally like slagging things off to get 96% for a game. Crazy. And you run a little mobile bookshop, like in the back of a caravan, and you go to lots of little seaside towns and villages across whatever country it's set in. I think it's Germany, I think. And you do lots of quests for local people and meet people and sell books, and you've got to tailor your book selection to the local community. But for like 96% on Steam, that's crazy. And that's coming out on PS5 in April, middle of April, I think, for about 20 quid. So that looks interesting.
For someone who doesn't like cozy games, that sounds like a very cozy game, James. And I did wonder, although I can see it written down, so thanks for clarifying, whether it was a game about a shop that sells tiny books or a bookshop that's tiny. So I think you've cleared that up anyway, so we can move on.
It's both, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, hopefully there's some undercurrent of error in there somewhere just to make it less cozy. But again, if I've got into my video shop one, that's not got any undercurrent of terror at all, apart from the adult films in there. So that sounds interesting. Another game called People of Note. People of Note sounds really interesting as well. I'm surprised you haven't seen that one, Giles. Very excited.
I missed that. Yeah, sounds good.
It's like a turn-based musical RPG. So it's meant to be a little bit like Clair Obscur in the turn-based type of thing. People have got into turn-based now, which I never used to be, and I never used to be into turn-based, but now it's all right. And it's a lady who is trying to take on people by setting up a band. And each band member, you can pick different musical styles. So when you're doing these battles, the musical style of each person has an important bearing on the battle. So somewhere along the line, it's to do with rhythm and timing, similar to some turn-based combat type games, but this one based on music. And yeah, you get successful and take over other genres, and people have battles based on their musical taste, I think. Sounds really interesting and look quite curious. And that's coming out on 5th of April, so only a few days away. Cool. I don't think it's going to be on any kind of Game Pass or anything by the look of it, so you might have to pay some money on that one. But yeah, it looks fine. Tides of Tomorrow. Can't remember if we talked about Tides of Tomorrow before.
I think it was on one of the streams, wasn't it? I didn't realise it was so soon.
Yeah, so that's a narrative adventure. World's been taken over by plastic, as it already has, as you can imagine. And the interesting part about Tides of Tomorrow is that you can either play it in standalone non-online mode, or you can play it in online mode. And on online mode, at the start of the game, you can pick like your favourite streamer or one of your friends or a colleague that's played it before, and the decisions they've made in the game then influence how your game is.
Oh.
Yeah, so if they've decided to free someone, for example, then when you play it, that person's been freed. And the characters refer back to the decisions your friend or streaming fan made in the past. So that sounds a bit different. So it's like a seaside-y narrative adventure type thing, but with interesting decisions. And finally, I just want to mention Madden 26, because I didn't talk about it last month, and I didn't realise it was out for free on PS Plus. So I shall play Madden 26, because I've played previous Maddens before, and they're generally quite simple, but quite fun. And that's one of the good things that come out of American football.
Let's not get into that this month. I think we said enough previously. We're probably not able to travel anymore, but, no great shame at the moment. So, excellent. I didn't really have you as a Madden player. I know you're a FIFA player, but you like football of various shapes. Good. Well, Mouse PI is finally coming out this month, which I'm excited about, although that's not in Game Pass, so I might have to spend money or just wait on that one. Darwin's Paradox, I thought looked really cool, which is Inside Limbo-like bit of stealth, but you are controlling a octopus.
Yep.
I was pretty sure when we saw this on a stream last year that it was coming to PS Plus, but I haven't seen anything about it being on PS Plus. And I did Google frantically to try and find it on PS Plus. Clearly, that was just a weird dream of mine because I don't remember. And Starfield's got a big update. Having really enjoyed Project Hail Mary, it really makes me want to play Starfield for some reason, because it's sort of that grounded NASA punk, I think they call it, style, where it's just exploring space for the good of humanity, that sort of stuff. That sounds pretty cool. So loads of good stuff. Loads of good stuff.
Too much good stuff, you could say.
Too much good stuff to fit into an hour, certainly, but just enough good stuff to fit into roughly 80 minutes. So we've come in, we've achieved our goal of trimming our episode down by 10 minutes at least. Assuming that, James, that's the show.
I was going to say it makes life a lot easier when you. I was going to say it makes life a lot easier when you don't play any games and I don't do anything. So that kind of cuts the show down quite a lot.
There we go. Okay,
if you can keep up with that style for next month.
We'll have to alternate. One of us can do things, one of us can play things, but not both.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's the show, folks. Please remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. We wouldn't say no to a few of those 5-star reviews. We would, in fact, say yes. Yes, please. We will take those. Do come over, interact with us on our social platforms. We're at Aches and Games on most things, and our Facebook page, or by emailing achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson, Giles West. How about you, James?
Yeah, and also if you want to see highlights of the show, some of the game reviews, they'll be on YouTube and also on the website. And also you can see the full unedited version of the entire podcast in visual format on YouTube, which Giles uploads after a couple of days after it gets released. So lots of things to look out for if you really want to. And yeah, please do send the ideas in. We always like to hear what you think about games and other things. We also like to feature your comments and stuff on the show, so please do send some stuff in. It's kind of why we started doing it in the first place, as well as being a general catch-up. Excellent. I look forward to playing my PS5 Pro soon, and I'll let you know next month how that goes and how the massive differences I see in all the games I'm trying not to put on the system yet, because I know I'm getting a new one soon. So my 5 Christmas games I've not touched yet, I'll be busting them out on the PS5 Pro and talking about them next month, at least one of them anyway. So nice to see you all again.
Excellent. Yeah, we've picked a short game this month, so we've got a chance to actually catch up on some of the things that we've been kindly bought or bought for ourselves. See you next month. We're first Friday of the month. Next month may have to be the second, so keep an eye on our socials for that. But I've got a holiday, a terribly timed holiday, so we might have to work that one out, James. Let's talk about that off camera. But see you next month at some point for more Aches and Games. Cheers.
Bye-bye.